You ever had your whole life bulldozed by somebody who thought they could just take whatever they wanted, like you were just in their way? I did. They built 21 rental cabins on my land. My land. And while the HOA president just sat there, smirking, bulldozers tore down the trees my late wife and I planted together. She really thought she'd stolen it all from me, just erased 26 years of my life to build herself a little money-making empire. But what she didn't know, while she was busy pouring concrete and patting herself on the back, I'd already set my revenge in motion. Every single rent payment, every dollar she thought she was raking in, was being quietly rerouted into my bank account. And yeah, you heard that right. I want to know where you're watching this. Takedown from. Drop it in the comments, would ya? If you believe no homeowner should ever get bulldozed by a power-hungry HOA, hit that subscribe button, because you really need to see the look on her face when she realized she built her whole project for me. But let me back up a sec. This all started with a flash of pink. So I'm driving my old Ford up the service road after checking the south fence line, and there it is, flapping on my main gate. A bright pink slip, cinched on with two heavy black zip ties dug so tight into the wood you'd think they were trying to strangle the gate itself. Pink, around here, means only one thing: bad news from the HOA. I killed the engine, just sat there for a minute, listening to the tick of the truck cooling off. I'd owned this stretch for 26 years, 11 acres of thick woods, a pond, and that rocky hill my wife Kate always called Stillwater Hill. Bought and paid for long before their precious subdivision broke ground. My place was an island, ringed by perfect lawns and step-forward houses, but never part of it. I'd made sure of that. My property lines were clear, recorded, non-negotiable. Gravel crunched under my boots as I worked my thumbnail under the plastic, reading the notice. Laminated, of course, because everything from the HOA feels smug and permanent. Violation. Illegal trespassing on common land. Apparently, I'm in breach of bylaws for building an unauthorized fence on HOA property. They're demanding I remove the fence within 7 days, or they'll do it for me, then bill me for it. I read it again. Trespassing. The word felt ridiculous. How's a man supposed to trespass on his own front yard? But this wasn't about garbage cans or overgrown grass. This was something else. I left the pink notice flapping and started walking, my anger bubbling up. See, I know my property lines better than the back of my own hand. I was a county surveyor for 40 years. I can walk a boundary at midnight and not stray an inch. At the northeast corner, where my woods meet their manicured green belt, I found them. New survey stakes. Not my faded ones, but bright orange, hammered deep inside my land. Orange string running between, marking out a new, fake line. Further in, fresh gravel, new flags, blue for water, red for power, all over the clearing by my pond. Not just trespassing, they were about to build. First stop was the HOA office, tucked behind the pool, smelling like chlorine and fake lemon. There she was, Karen Delaney. Perfect hair, perfect blazer, smile so tight it could slice bread. Clipboard front and center. Mr. Branson, to what do we owe the pleasure? Didn't waste time. I dropped the pink slip on her desk, then pulled my original deed and the latest county survey, unfolded the map for her. My 11 acres, parcel 7B, outlined in thick black ink. That's mine, I told her, pointing right at the border. She barely looked at it, just pushed it back with her perfect little nail. She gave me that corporate smirk, said, per our new master plan, that area's been rezoned as Phase 3, Community Enhancement Project. She said it like it was a magic spell. That made theft okay. You'll need to take it up with county planning if you have an objection. Classic brush off. But then my eyes drifted to the wall, a glossy map of the development. Meadows at Stillwater in curly gold script. Phase 1, Phase 2, then Phase 3, a green block labeled Future Community Cabins. My land, right in the middle. But no name, no parcel, just erased. Just gone. I was a ghost on their map. My fight turned to cold dread. I drove home in a fog, barely noticing the scenery I'd known for decades. But as I pulled up, I heard it, a deep growl that made my floorboards vibrate. 2 giant yellow bulldozers, steel blades gleaming, crawling up my road. They weren't coming to take down my fence. They were coming to build on my land. Next morning, before sunrise, chainsaws, high-pitched, screaming. I stood at the kitchen window, coffee going cold, watching them dismantle everything Kate and I built. They started with the pines we planted for privacy, taking them down one after another, each crash shaking my bones. Then they moved up to Stillwater Hill, the great oak tree where Kate's ashes rest. I didn't shout, didn't try to stop them. What was the point? Their map said I didn't exist. I just stood there, staring, while the tree toppled with a hollow boom. Something broke in me when it hit the ground. Karen's story, she was telling. Anyone who'd listened the land was donated to the community years ago. That the new cabins would fund a pool and fancy events. Sounded nice if you didn't know it was a lie. The next HOA board meeting was packed. The room buzzed. Some neighbors looked sorry. Others just wanted to watch the drama. Karen sat at the head, cool as ever. I laid out every document. Deed, county plat, tax records, 26 years, every penny paid on parcel 7B. Put the map on the projector, pointed at my border. This land has never been HOA property, I said, voice steady. Construction is illegal. Karen just nodded, that same fake sympathy. The rezoning plan was ratified last March. There was a 60-day window for objections. You missed it. And just like that, checkmate. Not a debate, just a technicality. Before I could respond, she hit a button and a slick presentation started. Now for the exciting part, the Stillwater Eco Cabins. Photos of A-frames. Promises of $600 a night, new pool, community events. The room shifted. Some saw a pool. All I could see was a bulldozer rolling over my wife's grave. That's when I lost my composure. That hill has a name. My wife called it Stillwater Hill. Her ashes are buried under the oak tree your crew cut down for your revenue project. The room went dead silent. For a split second, I saw panic in Karen's eyes, but she snapped back. Your appeal is denied. This matter is closed. When I refused to sit, a wannabe cop in an HOA security shirt, Lou Parks, all chest and no brains, grabbed my arm and escorted me out like I was the criminal. Standing in the hallway, heart thumping, I caught two board members whispering on the patio. That was close. He almost had them. The other one just laughed. Doesn't matter. The cabins are pre-booked for 3 months. Big payday coming. We just gotta keep him quiet till the money's in the bank. That's when I realized it wasn't about a pool or the neighborhood. It was a straight-up heist. That night, I stood at my illegal fence, staring out at the floodlit mess they'd made, the ground torn up like a wound. Anger burned off fast, replaced by cold. Heavy resolve. Grief makes you a spectator. But this made me a planner. For a week, I watched. Didn't yell, didn't protest. Just sat on the porch with my binoculars, documenting everything. Timelines, materials, every cabin foundation. No county inspections, no building officials. I'd worked with those guys for decades. Here, not a single visit. Something stunk. I needed a better view. My son had bought me a drone for my birthday. Mostly used it to check cattle, but now, it became my eye in the sky. The footage was brutal. From 100 feet up, the construction site looked like a fresh scar. I filmed everything. The crews, the shortcuts, the shoddy work. I posted screenshots on the HOA's Facebook group. Can anyone confirm proper permits for this project? No inspections. Within an hour, my post was gone, and so was I, banned from the group. Karen wasn't just stealing land. She was silencing anyone who dared question her. A couple days later, at the Greasy Spoon Diner, I overheard one of the construction workers talking to the waitress. That cabin job's a nightmare. Foreman wants everything done fast, not right. Running septic lines over a dry creek bed. One good rain, and the whole place'll smell like a sewer. That was the piece I needed. Not just a land grab, a dangerous one. At home, I pulled all my old survey maps, cross-referenced with drone footage, mapping every trench and utility. Then I dug through the county records, searching for permits. HOA, nothing. Developer, nothing. But then, under the project name, Stillwater Holdings, LLC. Never heard of it. State Business Registry, registered agent, Daniel Delaney. Karen's husband. A wave of cold clarity washed over me. This was no accident. This was theft, planned and hidden behind a shell company. So I called my old Army buddy, Ed Tully, a title lawyer, sharp as a tack. We went through every record, year by year. Until we found it, 15 years ago, a county mapping error. My parcel accidentally lumped in as a future easement for the subdivision, a simple clerical screw-up. Karen, or her husband, must have seen the extra parcel and thought they'd won the lottery. But the actual legal title? Never changed. Ownership, undisputed. Ed grinned. She built a castle on a cloud. I told him I didn't. Won a lawsuit. Too slow, too costly. I wanted poetic justice. We filed a corrective deed with the county and moved my land into a new trust, named for Kate. Quiet, official, invisible to Karen. Meanwhile, I found the rental cabins listed online, payments funneled through a big booking platform. So I contacted their legal department with all my documentation, the corrected deed, proof of ownership, even the permit mismatch. 3 days later, a one-sentence reply. Payments rerouted to the Stillwater Trust. Every dollar, now going into my account. I just sat on the porch, watching them work, every nail and wire for me. Karen bragged at a wine mixer that she'd already cleared $8,000 in a week. She was soaking up applause, not knowing she hadn't seen a dime. 6 weeks went by, the money kept rolling in, and Karen decided to host a special meeting, her big moment. She got up, all power suit and pride, started her slideshow. The revenue chart, blank. She covered quick, called on Arthur, the treasurer, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Yes, about the revenue. There is no revenue. Not a single payment. Karen's smile froze. It's a glitch. Must be a delay. But the room was turning. That's when I stood up. It's not a glitch, Karen. The money's going to the rightful owner. Me. The whole room went dead silent. I walked to the front, put the survey map on the projector, my parcel, my boundaries. Next, the corrected deed. Then the business registry for Stillwater Holdings, showing Karen's husband owned the shell company, not the HOA. Last, the email confirming all revenue rerouted. Finally, I played the drone footage, showing every shortcut, every cut tree, every foundation poured on my wife's grave. People exploded, shouting, demanding answers. Karen tried to adjourn the meeting, but the retired lawyer down the street stood up, booming. What Mr. Branson presented isn't just an HOA dispute. This just became criminal. Karen bolted, the room chanting, resign, resign. I figured it was over. I was wrong. Cornered, Karen got desperate. She emailed the community, painted herself as a victim of disruptive lies. But the damage was done. Everyone was talking, everywhere. Then, one night, my dog started barking at 2 a.m. I spotted a flashlight down by the cabins. It was Karen, trying to break into the office trailer with a crowbar, probably hunting for contracts, anything tying her and her husband to the scam. She tried yanking up survey stakes, tossing them into the woods, like it would erase what she'd done. But my neighbor, Mark, had installed night vision cameras after some garden gnomes went missing. The footage was perfect. Next morning, I took the drive to the sheriff. The deputy watched in silence, then said, "Sir, we'll take it from here." The fallout was fast. A news crew showed up. The headline was brutal. HOA president investigated for squatting on veterans' land. They showed drone footage, me in uniform, Karen with a crowbar in the dark. Her husband tried to claim it was a misunderstanding. No one bought it. The image of her yanking up stakes at night was too powerful. The board panicked, called an emergency vote, unanimous. Karen, gone. Building inspectors rolled in, clipboard in hand, found 14 major violations, septic, wiring, foundations, condemned the project. A delegation from the new interim board showed up at my gate, tired and embarrassed. "Jack, we're sorry. We let her run this place like her own kingdom. Now the HOA is broke, and it's all on your land. What do we do?" I looked up at the cabins, at the view my wife loved. "We start over. The right way." I hired real tradesmen. Gabe, the plumber from the diner, ran the crew. Neighbors started showing up with shovels. Mark spent weekends running new electrical lines. Nobody asked them, they just showed. We replanted trees, especially a young oak, where the old one fell. Small tree, giant victory. 9 cabins, condemned, torn down, recycled. But 12, structurally sound. Folks thought I'd rent them out high, recoup my pain. But I had a better idea. I set up the Stillwater Trust as a nonprofit. The cabins would be for veterans and first responders, at cost. A place to heal, get on their feet, or just rest a while. Not a business, a mission. Meanwhile, Karen and her husband faced a mountain of charges. Their name was Mud. Board members complicit in the scheme were voted out. The new board rewrote the rules, property lines sacred, no construction without triple verified surveys, and the legal owner's signature. Power, finally, back with homeowners. One cool autumn day, Mark's teenage son carved a sign from salvaged oak. We hung it by the cabins, Stillwater Hill cabins. Welcome home. Looking at it, I realized the real irony. This is the kind of place Kate always dreamed of. But I never knew how to build. Karen's greed and arrogance had done all the heavy lifting, cleared the land, laid the foundations, even funded the first phase. She thought she was building a monument to herself. But really, she built a monument to my wife's memory. So what do you think? Was justice served? Or should people like Karen face more than public shame? Let me know below. And hey, if you've got your own HOA war story, I want to hear it. Hit like, subscribe, and tell me, where do you draw the line between community and control?